Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Oscar Bevis for IFL TV. Dave, I appreciate you jumping on, clocking in at nearly 1 in the morning. But I know you've been up with one of the boys. Shout out to Dan Hayden, born on the 29th of July like me. So we know greatness is born on the 29th of July. Who won his first fight tonight?
Yeah, first time fight, first win. Yeah, him and his brother now. 16 fights between them, 16 wins. So long may that continue. Yeah, first fight, it's the hardest one, but yeah, box all right, box an experienced kid and won. So yeah, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, just another one off the line from the Dave Allen patio. Look, I'm not going to keep you for too long, obviously because of the time of night. Just your kind of initial reaction to the news earlier of the pullout from Tyson Fury.
It's a massive shame, isn't it? It's we've been looking forward to this fight for a long time, but it was a fight I never thought it was going to happen.
Is there any reason why?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying there's any. I'm not saying there's any. I'm not saying it's the cut hasn't happened or nothing. It was just something I just never felt it was going to happen. I'm not sure it ever will. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I've done loads of interviews saying I don't think it will ever happen, but it's a shame. It's a shame, but it's boxing. The funny thing is, I've never seen Tyson Fury sparring a head guard. I sparred him for years, many years. Been in the gym with him for years, and I've never seen him in a head guard before. How crazy is that? He never had a cut ever in thousands and thousands of rounds of sparring. And the first time I see him in a head guard, that's the first time I've ever seen him in a head guard, the first ever time. And I've known him 12 years and sparred him the first time 12 years ago, sparred him many times, been in a few of his camps. And I've known the first ever time in a head guard and he gets the cut. So I was like, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. When they said he got a cut, I was like, probably should have worn a head guard. And I saw the footage and I was like, he got a head guard. And that's amazing. Do you know what I mean? It was one of them. I was like, fucking hell, as if. But it is a massive shame because obviously it was 2 weeks away. But I don't know. I was just the fight. I don't know. It's just one of them. I just think destined not to happen.
Yeah, I mean the boxing gods work in horrible ways. You're the perfect person to ask this because, like you said, you've been in Fury's camp, and obviously you're a heavyweight as well. A couple of weeks out from the fight, because I know a lot of people have been kind of debating this on Twitter. A couple of weeks out from fight night, is sparring normally as intense as it looked? I know it was only a short clip. Is it normally that intense? Is that standard practice a couple of weeks out?
I believe so. Yeah, usually your last hard spar be about 8 days out. I would say. Normally, I would say on most camps I've been involved in. I was involved in the Usyk camp for Chisora, and I think his last spar was 8 days before. 8 days before, and that was very intense. 3 different sparring partners, 4 rounds at a time. I've been in loads of camps with world title level operators, and the spar hard and the spar often. Cuts are a part of the game, but it's one of them things. It's unfortunate. It happens. It does happen. But yeah. I saw the footage and it looked like the elbow. I don't know. It was a weird one. I'm not sure who it was who did. I'm not sure who the sparring partner was. Do you know who the sparring partner was?
Well, it turns out he was a Croatian who is, I think, Ajit Kabiel beat him a couple of months ago, and he's recently made his MMA debut. So perhaps the elbow kind of came natural instinct.
Yeah, it was. It looked like a weird one. It's a shame, but it is what it is. Will they reschedule it? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm not really that upset about it, really, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's my love of the big time boxing or whether the fight hasn't really captured the imagination like maybe it should. Maybe that's because it's not in the UK. Maybe people aren't really as interested in Fury as much anymore. I'm not sure, but I wasn't really overly bothered, really, to be honest. For one of them reasons, I'm not sure, but yeah, it is a shame. But I'm personally not that bothered.
I mean, it was a horrible cut. The same eye as the eye that he damaged in the Otto Wallin fight.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. I know kind of people know this, but there's no chance of salvaging the fight at all with a cut like that, is there?
No, no. Someone said to me earlier. Someone said could have been a few weeks ago. So couldn't they just give it a little bit of a rest? But the thing is, if you're giving it a rest, you're not sparring for a few weeks. You know, you're not going to be 100%. If Fury's not 100%, he ain't beating you. So, you know, and the same vice versa. So I don't think it's. You can't on the pitch. You can't really tell. You can't really look at the cut properly. You can't tell, but it doesn't look a good one. And again, that's got to heal fully before they take the chances of sparring again. You know, so that I'm not, like I said, I've not seen the cut, but that's going to take time. You know, and then they're gonna go back into a 12-week camp again. So you're looking into the summer really. I would guess before you could reschedule. So Usyk's going to fight again. Usyk ain't getting no younger. Usyk's fantastic, but at 37, he's slowing down. You know, Hergovich gets hold of him. I don't think Hergovich is the man to beat him on recent performances, but it wouldn't be the biggest surprise. No, he's a big fella. So yeah, it is a shame. But again, I don't know. I'm not. You're more involved in the boxing world than me. Would you say that this fight was as big as you would have perceived it to be maybe 18 months ago? Because I've not really seen the massive buzz about it.
As it was creeping up, it didn't feel as big as the occasion should have felt. But I think I always knew that as soon as the week rolled around, it would have felt huge, whether you were in Saudi or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the last one was Lewis. What was the last unification fight? Was it Holyfield Lewis in '99?
Yeah.
Is that the last one?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I reckon that would have been massive. Would have been huge. It didn't feel big. I don't know. I wasn't even really. It was creeping up, and I wasn't really giving it a thought. And I am a big boxing fan. So it's a shame for both of them. I feel for both of them. It's a shame. A lot of money lost, and you know I hope Tyson's all right. But on we go, innit? There's a good box. I'm looking forward to the boxing tomorrow, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed Dan Aiden winning his amateur debut, to be honest. The amateur boxing is fantastic. So yeah, it's a shame, but life goes on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we have got a good fight tomorrow night, but I know that kind of won't soften the blow for most people. You said about the possibility of it being a cut sustained potentially a couple of weeks before. Obviously that's speculation, but there was stuff in the rumor mill about him having a bad camp. But is that just classic?
I think,
Is that just classic sort of stuff that flies about?
you know what I think? Like, obviously, I'm nowhere near that level, Tyson Fury level, but you know, like you're training, I don't know. I never really trained for 8-10 weeks, but you know, training when you get a bit more experience, you want training to go well. You want sparring to go well. You want to spar well. You want to train well. You want your times to be good. Like when I'm training, like Stevie Lee's fight for the European silver title in a couple of weeks, I want our running times to be good. I want us to spar well. But when you're in, you know, like say you spar on a Tuesday afternoon, let's just say, if you're running hard on a Monday and on a Tuesday morning you got to put a session in, you ain't sparring 10 out of 10 on a Tuesday anyway, on a Tuesday afternoon. Do you know what I mean? So with experience now, and with the experience Tyson's got, you ain't sparring 10 out of 10 all the time. You can have a bad spar during camp as long as it's not getting put on your backside. You know, you don't really worry about it too much. So the only night that matters is fight night. I've sparred 10 out of 10 before for leading up to the fight. Before the Fraser Clark fight, I was sparring really well, amazingly well, and then I boxed like a donut. So realistically, the sparring don't mean anything. You know, it's what you do on the night. Tyson Fury is the kind of man, he will turn up on the night. You know, he will perform to the best of his ability on that evening. The Ngannou fight, I don't think he trained properly, so I think he turned up and did the best he could, but he's not prepared correctly. Um, so yeah, you can't always spar well. You know, what's a bad camp? Are you running? Are you running poor? Are you sparring badly? I don't know. There's loads of different things that go into it. So I was seeing people saying he's got old overnight and stuff like that. But I guess that only really shows in the ring for real, you know. Because I've been in loads of camps with loads of different fighters, some at the back end of the career, and you get the feeling, yeah, that I'm not sure what's left here. You know, and on fight night before that's been deemed true, and I've seen a big knockout performances. So realistically, like I say, you want camp to go well, you want training to go well, but a few but life is spars here and there. That's part and parcel of the game, you know. And when you're sparring rapid tires and you're sparring the Towers of the world, and they're coming in fresh and hungry, and you've been running hard that day, and you're tired. It's part and parcel of the game. So people put too much emphasis on sparring. That's a big thing, really. Like the kids I train, I didn't spar well. Yeah, you didn't spar well, but you're working on this or you're working on that, you know, or you run really hard yesterday, or you got weight to make in 2 weeks. You're making weight. It's difficult. So there's loads of different things that come into it. So the proof is in the pudding on the night, and we're not going to see it. So who knows? But the longer that Tyson don't box and the more that time goes by, he ain't going to do him no favors. So hopefully, if the fight is to happen, he gets his eyes sorted and happens sooner rather than later, because the older he gets, the more time he has out. You know, it ain't no positive. There's no positives about having time out the ring.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the sparring stuff is just kind of a good, and I'll put that in quote marks, story to kind of throw around the boxing scene. Just one more thing, two questions in one, I guess. I know a couple of people close to Tyson who've even expressed openly they would kind of be happy to see him retire. This is before the Usyk fight was even signed.
Yeah.
Would you be happy to see Tyson retire on one hand, and on the other, do you think it's a possibility?
I don't think he will retire, because I was in Bolton with Tyson 2014. No, 2015, sorry, because I was training with Peter and I left and I came back as a sparring partner. And I remember we was in opposite bedrooms and opposite of the hallway. So I was in one bed in my bedroom and he was like 20 feet away, you know, that was out of the corridor. And we're talking boxing, yeah. And he always said to me, he said, I'll end up being, he said to me, I'll end up being a journeyman. And I'm like 40 and I'll end up fighting all these prospects and stuff like
He
this.
said that to you?
Yeah, he told me. Yeah, he said, I think he's told that story a few times. He wants to box on forever, and I believe him. And I think as long as he's getting paid well, I think he'll continue to box. He loves it. You know, he comes out with some stuff, and some people say he's, you know, he talks a lot of shit, and I like him. I like the fella. I think he's a nice fella. But he's up and down, and he says some stuff. He says some silly things, and he goes back on it. But he's a nice fella. So for that, with all the money he's made, I probably would, if I was his brother, you know, or I was a close friend, I'd probably be saying, you've probably done enough, Tyson, really. You know, he was down. How many times was down in the Wilder trilogy? A lot. Down against Ngannou. So for me, it's not for me to tell anyone what to do. People say to me, you should retire. I hate it. So, but if I had a couple of 100 million in the bank, I'm not sure I'd box again, really. But I don't. So I will continue to. But yeah, I'm not going to tell him not to box. But like when I said about Anthony Joshua years ago, if I was him, I'd go on an island and never be seen again after the Ruiz fight. Not because of embarrassment or shame, but when you got all that money and you've got all them accolades and you've achieved that world championship status, what else is there to do? You know, as long as he's healthy and wants to continue to fight, he should continue. But if I was in his shoes, I'd probably bow out. But it's his life, and you only get one of them, and he might as well he can live it to how he wants to live it. You know, because people often say to me, "You shouldn't be boxing no more." But it's one life and it's short, so you got to make the most of it, I think. So he'll do whatever he wants to do. He's that kind of fellow. He'll do what he wants to do, and he's not daft. His dad's smart. Tyson's smart. And if I do, and I'm babbling on because it is pretty tight. It is pretty late, but they're not the kind of people. I'm not even £100 million. Tyson's not going to get beat for that. If he don't think he can beat Usyk, that fight's not happening. It's not happening. Not for all the money in the world. He ain't getting. John ain't letting Tyson box if he thinks he's going to get beat. That is a certainty. So yeah, if the fight happens, I will always back Tyson to win, always. Even sparring Usyk, and he was a genius. Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight I've ever shared a ring with, and I would back him against anybody. So until I see with my eyes that he's finished and he's done and he's beat, I would back him against anyone.
Wall Street Memes Casino.
I'm fine.
and sportsbook.